Hello and welcome to another edition of Victor Alonge on Real Estate. My name is Victor Alonge, as usual, your anchor, and I'm here this week to bring you another exciting edition of this show. This week we'll be revisiting the issue of monthly rent as it's being chorused now in the country. I think it started from the Federal Minister of Works and Housing, suggesting that it will be a good practice, and I think the Lagos State government has actually bought into it. We learned that the National Assembly, especially the Senate, are planning to actually enact a law to make it legal and perhaps illegal for anybody to charge yearly rent or anything outside monthly rent. So we'll be looking at the implication of this, and again, how sustainable is this policy and how can we make it work? Because I think, it will be to everybody's advantage if we can have a system that sustains monthly rent, but not just by, law or official fiat, but in terms of looking at the value chain within the real estate sector and impacting it and ensuring that, the whole thing, work together to produce what we desire. So I'll be looking at this and many more, especially on this topic after this message. Please don't go away. Welcome back. It's still Victor Alonge on Real Estate. My name is Victor Alonge, and this week, like I said, we will be looking at monthly rent as proposed by government. One thing we need to understand is monthly rent is a very, very lovely idea, and I think it's policy that we should aim at. How we get there is actually very, very, very important so that we don't have a dislocation. Monthly rent is a product. It's not a process. There is a process that should lead to monthly rent. The point actually is property investment. It's an investment class on its own. Just as we have stocks, you have, government bonds, and you have corporate bonds, and so on. So investors have choice of actually going into investing in real estate or in the alternative investment outlets. So if we over-regulate and over-strangulate, real estate industry, the natural thing is that investors will move away from that industry. And we know how important real estate is to the economy in terms of not just employment, but in terms of contribution to GDP and so on and so forth. So it's actually not going to be in anybody's interest. But now let us look at monthly rent. It is possible we get monthly rent, but the point actually is people borrow to build, and there's a lot of entrepreneurial, risk involved. If we have investment based on debt financing, and at the end of the day, you have a system where you say, okay, pay monthly rent, where tenants have actually no security of employment. And again, it's something that we need to understand, that banks will not, and that is absolutely important, banks will not take excuse, somebody has not paid rent, so that's why the interest or the payment due on mortgage is not paid. So it works in a way that we need to understand. This monthly rent, the way we are pushing it by just saying it must be by law, without actually looking at the components, and especially the value chain within the industry that leads up to producing the income to developers or investors. Without looking at it, I think it's going to be counterproductive. What it will mean is that foreign investors, which we are seeing in terms of our condominium, high-rise buildings, residential development, and even grade A commercial development, investment, we're seeing foreign investment coming in. And the first thing that will happen is if we have this sort of a restrictive policy in place, it will discourage foreign investment from coming into the sector. And we all know that foreign investors are actually particular about the enablers of their investment in terms of the country risk, in terms of the foreign exchange stability, in terms of security, not just physical security, but also security of their investment and security of their income. And they are always always discouraged by uncertainty. So this is actually something that we need to look at when we are coming up with this type of policy. And as a matter of fact, in civilized system, professionals and stakeholders are actually duly engaged, to come up with how this can be achieved. Nobody is saying that monthly rent is not desirable. It is desirable. It is something we must all work towards. But there must be a process leading up to it so that every aspect, of the value chain that will eventually produce the revenue will not actually be negatively impacted, and then it will not discourage investment in the sector. And to be honest with you, as we have real estate at the moment, banks are hardly lending against real estate. This is the truth, And if you now want to compound it with, this strict policy of monthly rent, it will just going to be double whammy for the industry, and unfortunately, it may spell serious problem, for the industry. It's not something that we should rush into. The government needs to engage stakeholders and professionals to work out how this can be achieved. And that is our position on Victor Alonge Real Estate. I hope you've had a great time with us this week. Please don't forget to check us out on our social media platform for previous editions of Victor Alonge Real Estate. Until I come your way next week with another exciting edition, please continue to keep safe. Goodbye.